Have you ever wondered why Scandinavian players are so good at esports? There are many examples of that. Cyril from Finland is the best player in StarCraft 2. He became the first player to earn $1 million in a strategy game, while also breaking the long career domination in StarCraft series.
And that is it! GG!
CSGO has even more great talents. We can think of teams like NIP or Fnatic, players like Forrest or Olaf Maista or Kerrigan and Rain, but there are just way more than a few names.
Oh dear, things are arriving, so it's
With just the CZ! No! He's dead! Shot! Apex! They only need two more! DW, have they done enough? Shots to save Vitality! It's fantastic! Fantastic! Complete the Cinderella story! Live from Sweden!
The third international was won by the Swedish team Alliance in Dota 2, and it was also an amazing comeback story.
Alliance surrounding from all sides.
BKB, they won this round! They're gonna do it! The Kings of the North!
Alliance wins! They win TI3!
The Alliance just won $1.4 million! They are your International 3 champions! They have taken home the first ever international for the Swedes.
What's also interesting is that Scandinavia has disproportionately more successful players than most other European countries, even with a bigger population. What makes these players perform so well? I asked myself this question, and here are several possible answers for that. The first one, you might guess, is that all these countries have somewhat harsh climate and weather, especially in winter with long nights and cold temperature. People tend to stay indoors a bit more than other regions. But it's not only Scandinavia that has it this way. Russia and Canada are also famous for cold weather, yet the players from these two countries are not dominating the world as Scandinavians do, even though we have some successful examples. So perhaps there must be something else. The first real reason is that Scandinavian countries all have a well-established and highly developed digital infrastructure. North Europe rocks high-speed internet access, which was being introduced actively even in the 90s. The internet was introduced to many regions before other countries managed to do it. The same is true for personal computers and video games. Scandinavia also has an overall highly developed IT sector, which contributes a lot to it. Particularly Sweden is one of the most advanced digital economies in European Union, alongside Denmark and Finland. This leads us to the second reason, that is availability. Computer games were common in Scandinavian countries as well as PCs, so a typical Nordic gamer could start his or her career some years ahead of other players in other countries. We can draw a comparison with South Korea, where gaming culture was also developing rapidly due to the big IT sector. But while in South Korea gaming was more focused around PC banks, as the internet and PCs were expensive, Sweden, on the other hand, could boast of with more available and also faster internet connection. It provided great circumstances for a gaming culture to grow. The third reason is that many Nordic countries, especially Sweden, had its esports pioneers and others who would in return inspire many young generations of gamers. We all know Swedish NIP and CSGO, but it was founded in 2001 and gave birth to such legends as Emil Christensen, better known as Heaton. This guy became one of the greatest Counter-Strike professional players, winning a lot of S-tier tournaments back in the old days, and that's only one example among many others, because later there were many more to come, and now we have almost each successful Scandinavian representative in any video game. So Nordic players always had a role model to look up to. The next major reason is that Nordic countries consume a lot of esports content. For instance, a study from early 2018 showed that Sweden is the second biggest market in Europe for esports consumption, based on the purchasing of tickets and merchandise connected to esports, as well as sponsor and branded interactions. Swedes aren't just playing games competitively, they're also putting money into watching others do it and learning from them in the process. Also, you don't always have to travel far to watch esports. Sweden is a home of one of the most successful and popular tournament series called DreamHack. Having originated in Sweden, it now has grown to other locations such as Montreal, Texas, Leipzig and many others, but there are still regulars that are located in Sweden, such as DreamHack Master Stockholm or Jönköping. And the last but not the least reason is that a gaming career seems like a viable option in Nordic countries. Not only gaming is more socially acceptable, young generations also don't have such strong pressure to survive in the competitive market. Scandinavian countries are modern social democracies with low levels of inequality, and the population has more social benefits and social network security than any other country in the world, so trying to get into esports isn't as risky as in the US, for example. This is why we see so many talented Nordic players. There are actually many factors that contributed to it. Do you think there are any other reasons? If you do, write your opinion in the comments, especially if you are from Sweden, Denmark, Norway, Finland or Iceland. Have a good day, good luck and have fun!